Hey guys, and welcome to this week's video where we're talking about cloud technology, in particular the Xero ecosystem and how it can help your business. All right, well, let's do it. Hey guys, welcome to this week's video. So a little bit different this week to what we'd normally do. I'm actually going to present a PowerPoint slide, which has got some really helpful information. I just thought this week was so jam-packed full of information that having a visual image of what we're sort of talking about would really help. So let's get into it. So the Xero ecosystem that drives business success. To start with, just a little bit of a disclaimer there for you guys to read at home. A few things I just want to run over before we get into the presentation. Our mission statement, and we're really proud of this. And our mission here at Xero Accounting is to partner with our business community. And so we do that so that we can stand out from the crowd and also be really focused on the relationships and the results that enable our clients to become industry leaders. So that's our mission. That's where we sort of really want to go. Our big vision, though, what we want to be here is we want to be the leading accounting firm in Southern Sydney, and we want to help also create massive financial and personal growth for our business clients and also individuals. And whilst doing that, having a shared mindset. So we're all going on the same page, going the same direction at the same time. The team, so this is the team who you probably know and love here at Xero Accounting. We've got myself, Belinda, Catherine, and Pierce. So I guess what we're here for, though, is the Xero ecosystem. So we talked about this is all about cloud technology. But essentially what happens is, I guess, a lot of what we do here in business with a lot of the apps that are out there is that it really starts with Xero. And this could be the same, I guess, if you're using MYOB or QuickBooks. But essentially today, I mean, because we're a firm that basically uses Xero, that's where we're going to concentrate on. But if we were to sort of have a look at Xero, Xero is essentially where it all begins. And essentially, I guess, Xero is, the hub or the home of where all these other different apps that you can use to make your business better connect into. But what is Xero? So for those who don't know what Xero is, basically the way I like to describe it with my clients is that Xero is essentially a piece of software that helps you as a business owner basically collect all your data, all the information from your bank statements and sort it. So it produces meaningful reports so you know, I guess, what your business has done. Otherwise, if we weren't to do that, it'd just be bank statements and, we could look at our bank statement and say, hey, there's 100 grand and it must be going really good. But, if we were to sort of break down what liabilities might be owing to the business, well, and you paid all them out, there might be not very much in the bank. So I guess Xero gives you that ability to sort of see what your business has done. And the other thing as well, I mean, look, accounting in general always looks back on the past of what has happened. And I mean, we take what we should be doing is with a really good clean Xero file that has been used properly, it should produce for you an idea of what you want to do going forward. So you should be able to predict or budget for what you're going to do going forward. But Xero is more than just a system that prepares the numbers. There's so much more to it as well. I even think, like, for small businesses, it can be actually a really good starting point for like a database where you can store all information about your clients. So I guess, their name, their address, email addresses. And then as well, like every time you do any activity with that client, it actually records what you've done. So if there's any invoices with that client, it will connect back to like what they call a card file or a contact file. But so you can keep information about your clients on there. You can easily invoice your clients. And when I say easily invoice, it is pretty easy. You can get it all done in Xero. And then also, once the invoice is done, you can also email that invoice off to clients. It's also got a system where it's quite basic, but like for quoting is pretty good as well. And it can turn a quote into an invoice. And on top of that, what I also like in Xero is the debtors section there where you can, what you can do is you can actually remind clients or customers to pay your bills before the bill's due or the invoice is due, and then even afterwards. So it's a good way to sort of remind people um, that you want to get paid. It's also a system where you can keep track of your employees and pay them. You can have unlimited users in Xero. So you might have, say, for example, every user in Xero has a different access level. So if you had someone that was just maybe doing jobs and you want them to do invoicing, you can give them the ability just to do invoices, and that's all they see, and they won't be able to access other reports in Xero that you might not want them to see. It depends sort of what business you are. I mean, like with mine, I'm quite open with all my staff. They can all access my Xero file. There's nothing to hide for me, but and that's different for everyone. You might be someone where you just want your employees just to help you with the invoicing, and that's it. It's also it can also be accessed remotely via I guess on your mobile or a tablet. I personally find that the app on the mobile isn't that crash hot. If you really want to use it properly, I think you really got to use it on the desktop or on a laptop. But in saying that as well, these days, like laptops are getting so small that you can carry them around anywhere, and you can connect to Wi-Fi anywhere. And battery power on a laptop today can last up to 10 hours, I think, for a really good laptop. But yeah, so that then really leads us into, I guess, with this, like, I guess, what apps you can connect into Xero. So yeah, so we'll go on to the next slide. So the first app that I absolutely really love is Dex Prepare, and previously that was called Receipt Bank. And basically what it does, it gives you the ability to capture an electronic version, so a soft copy of your receipts you get from your suppliers or any expenses. So that could be something as simple as going down to Ampol to get some petrol, and using your phone to take a photo, as we can see here on the screen, of the actual receipt, which is really good. So, and when it captures that, I guess you take a photo of that receipt, you can go and throw that receipt away. And what you can do is it will actually take out vital information, like I guess who you went shopping with or who you spent the money with. So in this case, it would be Ampol. It would also then sort of capture, I guess, the copy of the receipt, which it will store in Dex Prepare, and then also you'll be able to cross over into Xero. And the next part that I really like as well is it's capturing, I guess, well, how much GST was in the transaction, what the amount was, the date of the transaction, and then basically you have that soft copy of the receipt in Dex. So what happens from there is you go into Dex and you basically review that, or you can even get that to push straight over to Xero, so that when it comes to reconciling, you've got a bill in there for that money you've spent, and you just got to quickly match off in Xero the amount of money that you've spent on that receipt. So your reconciliations become a whole lot easier. If, say, for example, it's maybe the invoice comes through via email, you can also forward your invoices that you get from your suppliers or any expenses straight to Dex as well, and it will do the same thing like the mobile app. So as you can see here, like this is, I guess, basically the home screen of inside Dex. And it sort of just shows you there where you got a few different items to be transferred over into Xero. But yeah, like I said before, key information is being collected, and then it's then stored in the accounting software for up to 10 years. And it's also a great way to cover off on your compliance. So with, I guess, the ATO, you have to substantiate. If you ever had an ATO audit, at any point they can ask for this. You have to substantiate, and what I mean by substantiate is basically prove every expense you've had. So instead of having, like, I guess, a folder full of receipts that possibly, like, if you look at the one that's there, that looks like something that is from something like you probably get from like a cash register, like from Woolworths or Big W, or even like, I guess, a petrol station. But they always tend to fade. So the great thing about this is you could you can capture this, you can throw the receipt away. You don't have to keep these receipts in a folder. But then the best part as well is that when you want to go back and see what you spent the money on, you don't have to go through a folder and dig out this receipt and see where it is. What you can do is you can basically, go to the contact file in Xero and have a look for whoever the supplier was, and then the date you paid the money, and the receipt will be stored in Xero in a bill. As opposed to the other alternative would have been that you would have gone to a folder where if you have actually filed away your receipts, go and dig it out, try and find the right one, and then when you finally find the one, you can see the date, but the amount of money you spent or what you spent it on, you have no idea, and it's because it's faded. So that's why I think for a compliance reason it's really good. But also I think like for those who are bigger clients, where you might have a board of directors, it's a really good system to have as well, because as maybe like a GM or someone that's in charge, at any one point in time, there might be an internal audit where you need to prove where you spent your money. And it just, I guess, reduces any internal issues. So it's probably like a really good internal control, whereby, you need to have that receipt attached to any bill, so that that no one, reduce the idea possibly that an employee is taking money off the business. So that is Dex Prepare. The other thing as well is like with NGR accounting, we actually provide this to our clients at the cost base of, I guess, the cost of what Dex charge us. But if you were to go online, it's about $60 a month, but we charge just around $20 a month for it. Probably one thing I did miss as well, which I really do love as well, is it's a new feature, is that you can actually connect your suppliers up with Dex, and it will basically start fetching those invoices from the supplier. So say for example, if it was Telstra, I could say that, hey, I'm a Telstra customer, and it will start collecting the invoices off them instead of me having to go and manually push them over into Dex. But anyway, moving on. So the next app that I want to talk about, which is really great for connecting with Xero, is Practice Ignition. Now, Practice Ignition is probably, it would be best for a service-based business. So a service-based business is like, for example, accounting. We're a service-based business. Another service-based business is a solicitor, or maybe even like a marketing agency. But it's something where I guess you're not giving something tangible. So say, for example, a cafe. Well, that is more of a product-based business because they're physically giving something to you. Or if let's say, you made, I'm just going to pick out here, I'm looking at a chair. If you made chairs, well, that's a product style business, right? So that Practice Ignition wouldn't be handy for you. But if you're a service-based business, Practice Ignition is fantastic. And there's quite a few different reasons why. The first thing that I always suggest to clients is that, and this doesn't matter whether you're a product-based business or a service-based business, is that you should always have, before you're engaged with a client or a customer, some sort of contract or engagement letter where basically it sets out the terms of the relationship between each party before you go and work for each other, or you work for the customer, right? So before that relationship starts, you really need to have in place a contract that will ensure that basically you can, a contract of what's expected for each side of the party. But then you think about, well, how can this be signed? So it's, in our daily lives, like really, it's really important that, we don't really have a lot of time. So it's really important that you make it as easy as possible. And something like Practice Ignition makes it really easy, because when you've got a client to sign your engagement letter or proposal, you could basically have them sign that electronically by sending them an email with all the information. And on top of that, it's so much more than just signing a contract. So Practice Ignition can also put in that engagement or that proposal that you're sending to a client, or what you're sending them, a proposal on what services you're going to be providing. So you could say, well, I'm an example with my practice is that we talk about, well, we're going to do your 2021 financials and company tax return, your personal return. So we put that down. We put down what the cost is going to be. Or it could be that, you might have a client on a retainer. So it might be a contract. This is what we're going to do for the next year for you, and this is the monthly cost. But what I like most about that is that before you've gone in to do the work, you're actually spelling out exactly what you're doing. So therefore, there's no surprises at the end when you start talking about money. And I think like the way I've always operated is I like being upfront and telling people exactly what they're buying, what they're actually investing their money in with us. And that's so important because um, you don't want anyone to be surprised, and we also want to meet people's expectations. And I think if you have that documented down, you can really sort of be really upfront about what you expect on either side for the relationship you're having with each other, that business relationship. The other thing as well that I like in particular with this is, so we've got, you can sign off on your clients with the engagements. The next thing you can do as well is you can get your clients to sort of know what you're providing them. The third thing is payment. It's a payment gateway as well. So the great thing about that is you can, whether it's, that you ask for a deposit up front or 100% of the money up front, or, you got on a retainer where you're charging them once a month and you're taking money out of their account, or, you're billing them at the end. Practice Ignition can connect into Xero. It can actually generate the invoices and push them over into Xero. And then the next thing as well is it can also take, the payment information from your clients, whether it's their credit card or their EFT details for direct debit. It can then basically pull that money out of the account once the invoice is done. So generally what might happen, I know with our business, is that we say, hey, here's an invoice, 3 days later, we're going to be collecting that money. And the great thing about that is it helps improve your cash flow. The big thing I found that with a lot of clients is that they never have a problem with actually paying your invoice. It's just that everyone is just so busy these days that they don't have time to sit down and pay bills. So if you make that one piece of their life a whole lot easier for them, it means that you can get paid a whole lot sooner. So it's a great thing for cash flow. As well, like if anyone is interested in using Practice Ignition, and look, I love it that much. I'm quite happy to put down here in the slide here a link where you can basically get 50% off for the first 3 months. That's valid as of today, which is but hopefully it'll be valid in the future as well. But if not, you can always get in touch with us, and we can always put you in touch with the guys at Practice Ignition. This is just a little bit of a quick snapshot of what dashboard looks like in Practice Ignition as well. So you can see here we've got, the revenue of what's coming in, projected payments that are coming in as well. So hey, in the next week I've got X amount of money coming in, and then also a bit of a pipeline, the work that's coming through, and the invoices that are going to be finalised. And then number of clients that you've got, new clients. So it's a really good dashboard to sort of indicate where your business is and where it's going. For those who aren't a service-based business and you might be a product-based business, it's probably really good to have a merchant facility. And I think really these days you don't need to be going to one of the major 4 banks to get a merchant facility. But I guess before we sort of talk about merchant facilities, what is a merchant facility? Well, a merchant facility basically is the ability to get paid electronically. So I guess, I'm sure everyone's been out and gone to the shops and they've seen like a tap and go or something where you can pay with your credit card or your FPOS card. I guess that the merchant facility gives the business or where you're shopping the ability to go and collect that payment. So what Square provides is it gives you that ability to get paid. So whether that's in person, FPOS payments, or even could be, say, for example, online. And what's great about this is it does connect with Xero as well. So you can put on Xero, you can connect something like Square. There is a few other ones out there as well. Another one is IntegraPay and Stripe. So what you can do is you can basically connect them with Xero, and then when you send the invoice out to the client or the customer who's got to pay, it can actually put on the invoice a link for the customer to go and pay. And then also in the email, when Xero sends the invoice, there'll be like an email which will also have a link for the payment details. So you're making that whole ability of getting paid a whole lot easier. And your customer can do it all online, click a few buttons, and then you get paid. So the whole idea is that having a merchant facility, it makes life easier. But the other thing as well is, say for example, you do have a customer that might not, have the cash in their account to pay you, but they will have a credit card. Having that credit card there means that you can get paid sooner. I think the big thing that a lot of people tend to struggle with is the idea that you're going to be paying a company like Square a merchant facility, a merchant fee. So I'll just go on the next slide. A merchant fee can be around about 1.6 to 1.9% of of your fee. So obviously, if you're the bigger your invoice goes, well, the higher that amount is. But if you can get paid sooner, that it's well worth it in the end. So, but yeah, like it's probably more of a mindset to get around that idea. But it's just really, you got to think about when you do a cost of a job, you need to really factor in, I guess, a merchant facility fee. And no matter, if you look at big businesses like Woolworths and all that, I mean, they wouldn't be paying those sort of percentages because they have a lot more volume and have a lot more power to negotiate. But being a smaller player, you won't have that power. But even something like someone like Woolworths is going to factor into their cost of when they're selling their products in store, the cost of a merchant facility. But yeah, so the key features are really, getting paid fast every time, and then also the other thing as well is, like, I guess with this system here, it can also keep a lot of those credit card details secure as well. So there might be questions that you guys might have. If you do have any questions, I invite you to get in touch with us. And yeah, so well, thank you for watching today. If you liked this video, please subscribe and like us and share with your friends and family. And I hope to see you in our next video. Have a good one, guys. Thanks for your time.